Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the qualifying watch-along for the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix. Yes, Japan in April. I had to check the date. It's not March. Japan in April. Yeah, it's still weird. I'll never get used to it. How are we all doing this morning, afternoon, evening, where you are in the world? Hey, Annette says good afternoon. So I hope you had a good weekend so far. Hey to Pascal, to Tim C as well. Morning, Tim. Paul, yes, we're definitely doing a live stream. I'm here now. Sorry I'm a little bit late, but, it's me. Getting out of bed is tough. Hi to the real deal, to Fud as well, to Jithu too. Hope you're all having a good morning, afternoon, evening, like I say, wherever you are in the world. Interesting weekend thus far, if you've been keeping an eye on things. Fire. It's not a warning. It's a thing that seems to be happening constantly this weekend. FP1 seemed to go pretty well. No issues for anybody there, really. FP2, Jack Doohan stuck it in the wall quite heavily. All okay there. And then it was just red flag after red flag for fires at the side of the track. Sparks setting fire to the dry grass out there. So we've got this weird situation at the moment where the marshals are out there dampening the grass, which is interesting. But, there you go. It's all part of the job, I suppose. But we had this in China last year, didn't we? It seems to be a bigger issue this weekend, though, so hopefully that's going to get sorted. It's supposed to rain tonight in Japan, and I think tomorrow morning as well. Sunday morning it's supposed to rain quite a bit. Should dry up for the race, or at least stop raining before we get to the race. So that will help, but it is quite concerning. I mean, you can see the picture next to me there on the camera of Yuki Tsunoda's Red Bull and how brown and yellow the grass is. So it's very dry out there, so the sparks being thrown up by the cars causing fires, which is just it looks a bit amateur hour, but these things happen. Ted Kravitz suggesting maybe we should move away from titanium skid blocks, and we all know that we have an issue in Formula One and we have to find a solution immediately. Expects everyone to adapt to that, but it's not a lot you can do this weekend. Just got to get on with it. Hopefully, the rain tonight and through tomorrow will start being an issue in the race. But we might get quite a few red flags in qualifying if things continue the way they have been so far this weekend. So, a bit messy. But what it does for us as fans is as daft as it all looks, it means we've got cars going out there today and tomorrow with very little track time compared to what you'd expect across 3 practice sessions. So, maybe that'll mix things up a little bit. I won't start singing that, Fud. We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel, because we will be here for the whole song. I will make sure I sing every word, and then I'll look really, really sad when I get every single one absolutely bang on, because I'm a loser like that. Very different from the Typhoon Day, says Paint 2D. It's extremes, isn't it, for some reason, Suzuka? It's either catching fire or it's chucking it down with rain and having to nail down garages and tents. It's just Japan things. I love Suzuka. I love it so much. I can't wait for the action this weekend. Big story. They're just getting into it on Sky now by the look of it this weekend. If you have been living under a rock, Liam Lawson no longer at Red Bull. He's gone to Racing Bulls. Yuki Tsunoda is now at Red Bull, finally, where he should have been at the end of last season if they were going to place Checo. And that's, again, I keep saying this in videos, that's not hindsight. That's something we were all saying back in November, December, wasn't it? It had to be Yuki Tsunoda. They finally bit the bullet and done it. He's in there and already looks happier with the car than Lawson, Perez towards the back end of last year and for parts of the year before. Albon, Gasly. So that's good news. That's good news for Red Bull. Hopefully, you can carry that into qualifying. We did have FP3 this morning. Norris was fastest, by the way. Piastri in second. A couple of hundreds between them. It's looking like it's between those two this weekend again. Russell third. Said it the other Sunday. What a start to the season he's having. Leclerc fourth. Verstappen in fifth place and Hamilton sixth. Half a second or just over half a second covering the top 6 there. Albon in 7th. Gasly 8th. Tsunoda 9th. About 3/10 off Verstappen, which is pretty decent and where he needs to be, really. Around a quarter of a second would be fine. Hadjar in 10th. Sainz 11th. Lawson 12th. Antonelli 13th. Doohan 14th. Alonso 15th. Bearman 16th. Bortoleto 17th. Ocon 18th. Stroll 19th. And Hulkenberg in 20th. Bortoleto this morning scaring the life out of himself on a run to 130R. Catching the grass, thinking something going wrong with the car, and he just caught it. Big accident waiting to happen there, so needs to avoid that in qualifying, but yes. Marta, hey Marta, morning people from sunny Hampshire. The sun's just about coming up here in Lincoln, so hopefully it's going to be okay. Hopefully. Might be in the garden this afternoon to try and sort that out. We'll see how we go. Jonathan, hello Sean, and everyone, especially if your name is Jonty. Love from the Lone Star State. Hopefully Ferrari can have a good weekend without drama. Thank you, Jonathan. Hopefully They looked okay this morning again. This seemed to be more in the mix, but as we've seen, they have good Fridays, fall off on Saturday, and then disappear on Sunday. So, apart from the sprint, of course, last weekend. So, hopefully, Ferrari have a good one. We'll see how we go. I'm not going to hold out any hope because what's the point anymore? Pascal says Bortoleto had 2 good saves this morning. I didn't catch the first one. Pascal, let me know if you can think of any, or let me know what that moment was. I'm trying to think what the first one was. The second one was at 1:30 wasn't on the rundown there, so lucky to get away with that one. Or we'll say as well, very quickly for answer some more of your questions for the next sort of 10 minutes or so. A few issues. I've had some issues with multi-viewer this weekend. It seems to be okay at the minute. If it starts playing up again or I can't get it working, we'll have to muddle through between us. But I had some issues this morning, so or yesterday trying to get it set up, and I don't know what's been going on. So if you've been having some problems, let me know. I might be able to troubleshoot it while we're live, but we'll see how we go. But we'll get through it together. We'll manage. We always manage, don't we? Not the kind of fire weekend I wish for, but all right, F1 gods. Said just you. Yeah. We wanted action. We wanted drama. We wanted excitement. We didn't want fires, did we? But here we are. Just under the bridge, says Pascal. So, Degner 2 on the run to the hairpin. That's under the bridge, isn't it? I think. Maybe. I could have just made that up. Yeah. It was that or fire start. We've had enough fire starting this weekend already, says Fud. Yeah, fair enough. I get that one. How long till quali, says Hale. 40? 15 minutes-ish. Yeah, not long. Quarter of an hour, let's say. We'll say that one, yeah. Quarter of an hour. Just over. But, yeah, not too long to wait. I used to go live about an hour before the session, but that was... it's tough enough filling the half hour sometimes, so waiting for stuff to happen. We just want to watch action, don't we? Talk about F1 for a bit, watch some action, see what goes on. But seems to be doing a big thing on Red Bull at the moment, talking to Max Verstappen, our Sky, or they were. It says live, but it wasn't. Quali predictions, says Anushka. We'll do those in a bit. I've not been here for a couple of weeks to talk to you all, so we'll do some questions and catch up, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to try this weekend as well. It won't happen. I'm going to try and not be a commentator because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing on these. That's not the idea of these, but I guarantee that won't work, and I will get right into it and start commentating like B-Tech Crofty. But there you go. I'll try my best. The grass is full of fire, like full of fire. Must be the fire, says Phil. All fire. Just everything's on fire. The whole track, it's over. We need some rain. Yuki Tsunoda signing caps. I do find it interesting, by the way, and I'm not being cynical. I mean, I am being cynical. It's me. But I do find it interesting that we were told last week about this decision for Tsunoda to go to Red Bull and swap with Lawson, the driver rotation, as they call it, that it was described as a sporting decision by Christian Horner. And yet we've arrived in Japan, and either they're very, very good on the Red Bull side of things, and they managed to organise all this in under a week, but there seems to be a hell of a lot of PR around Yuki Tsunoda in the Red Bull, almost like it was planned a little bit ahead of time. That's the cynic in me. I have no evidence to back that up other than what I've seen, and that's, we all do it, but I've just been a bit cynical on that one. I find it very interesting. It was a sporting decision, but all this marketing and PR, which, do you know what? Maybe they've just moved over what they had planned for Racing Bulls to the main team. I don't know, but I just find it very interesting. It does feel like this was coming, and it was the right decision, and it was the right decision last year. So, but here we are. Hopefully it's not burn Liam Lawson too much. Did fans get dressed up this year? They always seem to, don't they, Matthew? They always seem to. We see some great. I'm trying to think of some great outfits. So there's a video that Elizabeth voiced on or narrated on Monday about Mad F1 records, and actually on the thumbnail it's Japan '97, and it's Villeneuve and Schumacher, the big head mascot things fighting. That was in Suzuka. The fans there. I just love to go there for the atmosphere. It'd be amazing, but it's brilliant. They're so passionate for F1. I mean, somebody there with a rear wing end plate, I guess, for Yuki Tsunoda to sign. I mean, where'd you get these things from? Madness. F1 Authentics, I suppose, which is expensive. What are your thoughts on Tsunoda so far in Red Bull? I think he's quite decent and not too far off Verstappen, says Pascal. Yeah, 3/10 off this morning. I'm not reading anything to FP2. A few people tried to yesterday, but you can't read anything into that session. It was a waste of everyone's time, frankly. But I think he's looked pretty good. He was pretty close in FP1 as well, wasn't he? So that's good. So I said it for Liam Lawson. I'll say it for Yuki Tsunoda. I think the same goes. Any driver that can be within a quarter of a second of Max Verstappen, his teammate in there, I think is where they need to be. So quarter of a second off on average this season. I think I said earlier in the year, 7. If you remove Silverstone and Hungary as the big outliers last year, I think Sergio Perez will average about 7/10 off across the season. So if they can get to a quarter of a second, then they've already done the job. Lawson couldn't. Hopefully Tsunoda will, but I think he's done all right. Why isn't Haas an option for pole? I wish I dared. The idea of a Haas pole would be incredible, but I'm not quite sure it's going to happen. But yeah, the other thing as well, Jack Doohan, big accident yesterday. Apparently DRS didn't close it. He didn't close it. It's manual in Suzuka. I think it's the same in Silverstone as well, isn't it? Stowe. You've got to manually close it because you don't break into turn 1 at Suzuka. Doohan had been running it in a simulator. According to people at the track, he'd be running it in a simulator, trying to get through turn 1 with the DRS open until it closes itself when the zone ends. Tried that in the race, in the session yesterday, lost the car, big accident. So is that the definition of a rookie error? Maybe? Or am I being too generous there? Was that just a bit dumb? But then I'm not calling Jack Doohan dumb. I'm just saying that kind of thing, going into that corner, DRS open, it feels like it was only going to end one way. But there you go. It was working the simulator, very different to real life, of course. But he's okay. Car's been rebuilt. He's been out this morning. So all good. But I don't think he's got any laps in this week really at all, because he missed FP1 because for some reason Alpine decided not to give their rookie driver FP1 and put Rio Hirakawa into the car for very good reason, I'm sure, and for no particular. Sean's very cynical this morning, and Sean's talking about himself in the third person as well. But very cynical this morning, so I'm spotting things. I'm sort of raising an eyebrow like, okay, fair enough. It just would have made sense to put him in Gasly's car, especially given that Doohan technically, or in fact officially, has taken one of those sessions up already. But here we are. We're about 10 minutes away, so let's do some predictions. Who are you going for pole position today? I did do a poll. I'll switch this off before Q3. Or end it before Q3 this week instead of waiting until halfway through it. But so far, 66% of you, 65% of you have gone with McLaren for pole. Ferrari, 20%. Red Bull, 9%. Mercedes, only 5%, I find interesting. I would have... And obviously, you never know what Max Verstappen's going to do over one lap. He can pull anything out of the bag. But I would have said, based on what we've seen today, Mercedes have probably got a better shot at pole than Red Bull. But again, Max Verstappen's in that car, so who knows what he's going to do. Hi all, watching from Malaysia, the home of Sepang. Oh, Sepang, don't. That's it. The next hour is dedicated to why Sean loves Sepang and why it should be back on the calendar immediately. No questions asked. In fact, you know what? If we can all organise it, let's get rid of Miami in a couple of weeks' time and let's put Sepang there, for God's sake. Frankly, a race around my driveway would be more enjoyable than Miami, but there you go. Don't think the NCC has had a rookie F1 driver since Grosjean over 10 years, so maybe they've forgotten they have to tell their drivers the minor details like having to manually close DRS, says Fudd. Is Grosjean their last rookie? Really? What was Palmer? Let me know, chat. I thought Palmer would have been one of their rookies, wouldn't he? But then, which one was Palmer? I can't remember who that was. Who is Jolyon Palmer? When did he debut? Piastri to Pizza Man for pole, says Craig. Russell could be a surprise, says Lazy Dog. I agree. Phil says last good rookie. Pascal says Palmer in 2016 for Renault as a rookie. So there we go. Team driving season more important than ever this year, says Tim. The Alpine mechanics, for some reason, I think they're just jeering the crowd up. There we go. Yeah, where is Palmer? Where is he? Jolyon Palmer's a fantastic pundit on F1 TV when I get to watch it, when their stuff goes up on the YouTubes and things. So I no issues with Jolyon Palmer, but he wasn't great, was he, in F1? There you go. Fernando, Palmer had retired, says Daniel. Russell's just quietly collecting points under the radar. I was going to say this. I was saying this actually post race on Sunday, wasn't I? For China, that he's impressed me so far this year, and we'll see how he goes tomorrow. I might have a little chat about that again briefly and see how we go there. But I hope he has a good weekend again. But quietly doing his bit, and this is the thing as well. If he can consistently do that early doors, who knows what the season could bring? So I think it's between the McLarens, isn't it, for the title? Let's be honest. Long old way to go. Let's not start talking about the championship. But if we're being honest today, it's probably going to be those two, isn't it? Norris versus Piastri. It's interesting how Puntry runs in the family. Palmer and Palmer, Brundle and Brundle. Yeah, true. Have I missed your predictions? Did anyone put any poll sitters in? I went with Norris on Thursday. I've seen nothing to suggest so far this weekend that I've gone the wrong way in terms of the team on poll. So I'll stick with Norris for now. If he gets knocked out in Q1, we'll see how we go and we do some a little bit later on. I'd be surprised if he's knocked out in Q1, but you never know in Formula One, of course. You never know. He could challenge for the World Championship. He could. We'll see. Hopefully Mercedes' development is pretty decent. Like I said, McLaren last year were nowhere initially in the season, were they? When you think back to Bahrain 24, absolutely nowhere. Come the end of it, they're Constructors' champions and had better decisions being made through the season and mistakes not being made, then who knows? They could have won the drivers. So Brazil or Japan or Silverstone for the final race of the season is given the choice. If given the choice. Silverstone is the final race of the season. Silverstone in December. Oh, do you know, as ludicrous as that idea might seem, I'd totally be up for that. It would be utter chaos. I think I like Brazil as the season finale or Japan because I'm just that kind of guy. Right, let's see. I'll keep an eye on chat. I'm really hoping live timing is working. It looks like we are. Hopefully the issues from last week, which as I understand it, last race, sorry, not last week, they all come thick and fast, don't they? But last race where we had all the issues where timing kept going down, I think that was a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a central issue for timing. That wasn't a multi-viewer problem. That was, I think, live time was playing up across the board for F1, so that's why things played up there. But hopefully all good today. Just letting it catch up. We seem to be working. The track map's working, so that's a positive. Obviously, everyone's still in the pits because we are 6 minutes away from the start of quali. So I will put the track map on screen shortly when people start to when we get to the start of the session. But all good. And they're looking at some classic clips of Silverstone here. I mentioned it in the preview on Thursday. 25 years. A quarter of a century since Michael Schumacher's first world title for Ferrari. Where on earth does the time go? Cool story, Grandad. Anyway, big news from the FIA. Light blue padding material must be worn or must be used, and risk of rain for the session 0%. So we're about ready to go here. But yeah, a quarter of a century since that moment. The Michael Schumacher put in that brilliant drive, a brilliant race, as Murray Walker called it, over the line. Yeah, quite a moment. I remember that. I remember getting up for racing Japan in '98 and being devastated, and '99 being devastated, and 2000 being absolutely over the moon. So there you go. I was about 100 at that point, so there you go. I had to guess the top four. It would be Norris, Russell, Verstappen, and Piastri. Says Paint 2D. Is this the first time Yuki is in a Red Bull? It is indeed, Daniel. First time for Yuki in a Red Bull. I can't open the live stream on F1. It says coverage has concluded, says Skyfall Hate. Hey, that's on multiviewer or a F1 TV thing. I know F1 TV can be a bit unreliable at times, so sorry to hear that. Poll for Piastri, says Pascal. Sauber Q2. Morning Delfino Slim. And thank you to Sad Mariners fan, who's not from Grimsby. Says, if Yuki manages to take pole, I will go so nuts they'll have to take me to the loony bin. Thank you very much for your super chat, mate. And yeah, I think everyone will go a little bit mad if he gets pole position, but a bit of a tall order potentially for our Yuki. You never know. Track map, not too bad. Happy with that positioning. I can make it a little bit bigger for you, actually, hopefully. All being well. There we go. Look at that. All good. We are ready for the session. About to get started. About 3 minutes' time. I would love some Sauber points this weekend, says Paint 2D. That'd be good to see. That would be good to see, some Sauber points. What a start to the season, now when you think about it. I said this at the time. They got all the way to Qatar last year before they scored a point with Yuki, not Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki says on mind all weekend. Zhou Guanyu. How quickly you forget. Zhou Guanyu last season, all the way to Qatar, and then they get to the first race this year and pick up some big points. So, yeah. Apparently, Prairie Boy switched from F1 TV, so apparently there are some issues there. So, apparently the coverage says has concluded in between the pre-race and actual quali, says Sad Mariner. So keep refreshing it. It might kick in. If RB out-qualify RBR, do you see a scenario in which Max and Yuki move to RB and make them de facto A team and let RBR focus on 26? I don't. I want to, but I don't. I'd be very surprised. Well, they've painted the cars white this weekend, so I mean, maybe they are starting to head that way. I don't know, but I'd be very surprised if it happened. But it would be quite funny. Hopefully, Red Bull get it together for their sake and for the sake of the championship. We have a good battle, but that would be good fun. That would be good fun. See what happens. Yeah, sorry, no, you've set me off now. Yeah, Max winning his 5th World Drivers' Championship in the sister team would be quite a story, wouldn't it? Here we go. Just thinking, just the idea. Sorry, you've thrown me now. The idea of Max Verstappen in what is basically a Minardi. Let's call it a Minardi. Why not? Historically, winning a world championship would be quite incredible, wouldn't it? I doubt it, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. Hey, Max. Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you, Max. Hope you are too. Grab a swig of drink in a minute before we get started here. In fact, I'll do that now very, very quickly. I will mute the mic so you don't have to listen to it. Didn't even have to see it. How nice am I? There we go. Yeah. I'm ready. Prepared. We're ready to go. Got the red flag thing ready because I think we're going to need it. Let's be honest. Unless they have managed to wet the track, not wet the track, or wet the grass enough to avoid the fires that we've been having all weekend so far, or certainly since FP2. 2 more this morning, which caused red flags, which just is madness, really. But cars starting to get to the end of the pit lane now in queue. Got a Haas leading the way, which is good to see. Good to see the Haas is out there nice and early. And I think we're go for quali. We are indeed. Both the Haas drivers at the end of the pit. Ocon first out, followed by Bearman. Then we've got an Alpine there as well. Mercedes queuing. So some early laps on the board here. Possibly, maybe, perhaps, in reaction to the lack of track time they've had. Maybe they're going to go out and get a couple of extra laps in just to get a feel for things. But these guys should know they're in around Suzuka by now. Most of them. Matt says mine. Ref says mine says maximum number of streams. I know they've changed that, haven't they? They have changed that this year. I think with the F1 TV Premium kicking in, it's limited the number of streams you can have, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's the way we're going with everything, isn't it? Streaming services now. Wasn't Minardi owned by an Australian one time? Correct me if I'm wrong, says Craig. They were indeed. Paul Stoddart. They were European Minardi, they were called, weren't they, technically? So, yeah, Paul Stoddart. Quite the character. If you want to know how big of a character Paul Stoddart was, go back to watch the international, I think it is, highlights of the farce at Indy in 2005 and hear what he has to say about what's going on there and his opinion there. That was not afraid to say what he wanted to say, Paul Stoddart. Not afraid at all. We need more of that. Drivers and team bosses speaking their mind rather than just giving us a PR answers. But I think not everyone agrees with him, and I get it. But Jeremy Clarkson, I think, made some interesting points a couple of weeks ago now, it will be, but about how drivers now are interviewed so often that all we're getting is PR responses because they've got to be so careful what they say and however else you put it. But, you know, it's where we're going with F1, isn't it? Just cameras and microphones in faces constantly, so drivers have been more careful what they say. Whereas back in there, here he goes with his rose tinted spectacles again, drivers were more inclined to just call someone a knob if they needed to. And that's look at the fans as Yuki Tsunoda goes out on track, actually really slowly through turn 1 and 2. What if he was just soaking that moment up there? Quite a moment as well. It's great to see. Grandstands full as always at Suzuka. Also that Haas livery, by the way, incredible. I love it. Not that there's anything wrong with the Red Bull livery. It's nice they've gone that way. I think I preferred, potentially controversially, the Turkey one we had back in 2021. I'm going to go and shoot for that one. I preferred that one, but we're on board with Jack Doohan as he approaches the hairpin at turn 11. The Kamui Kobayashi hairpin. All good through there by the look of things. Quite a wide line at that hairpin. It throws you sometimes. You used to taking tight lines and hitting the apex, but they need the wide line there to get a good exit to run to one of the great corners around this track, Spoon Curve. Is it still curve or are we just calling it Spoon these days? I'm pretty sure it used to be Spoon Curve. Tricky little corner, actually. And then the run down to the famous 130R, where we've seen... I actually mentioned in the preview again, Michael Schumacher being overtaken by Fernando Alonso around the outside of 130R in 2005. Didn't Kevin Magnussen do that to Charles Leclerc a few years ago as well, or the other way around? Around the outside of 130R. It's quite a ballsy move, even with the corner not quite being as tight as it used to be or whatever. But, yeah... Bearman, Ocon, Doohan, your first 3 lap times. Sykes goes into second, 129.5. F1 threatens fines and bans for swearing on political statements. Why don't drivers speak their minds anymore? Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point, Jamie. Absolutely. I mean, it's stupid, isn't it? Just, I'll not get into it again because I'll go on another rant about it. But if they're not abusing people with that kind of language, then what does it matter if they drop the odd F-bomb? It just doesn't, does it? So, but, you know, world we live in now. Let's not start that, as that Ferrari really sped up over the curbs there. I'm assuming that was a mistake on the TV, trying to catch up. But Leclerc goes fastest on a 28.571. These times, if you're new to F1, don't really matter at this point unless you're in the bottom 5. We're going to lose 5 slowest, then 5 slowest again. And then we'll have a top 10 shootout for pole. It'll be 6 slowest and 6 slowest next year, won't it, with Cadillac coming in. So... 11th team on the grid as Norris goes fastest, comfortably actually 0.3 of a second at this stage. Purple across the board. Max says Alonso's overtake on Schumacher at 130R is very possibly the greatest overtake of all time. Let's not open that can of worms. Do you know what? I'll tell you what that is. That's got midweek stream written all over it. That has, Max. I'll tell you now. A midweek stream. John T, me, talking nonsense for 2 hours about best overtakes and then realising we're completely wrong and someone in chat makes the best point ever towards the end of the stream and we've wasted 2 hours. Just F1 word things. There you go. Verstappen, only 700 down on Norris here on his first run. I was, I meant to say at the start of the stream as well, apologies, but I noticed when I was listening to the stream back, so I'm trying to find clips in race watch-ons that we could put out afterwards as shorts. Just the one. I was listening back. You can hear, even with this microphone, even with the settings I've got, you can hear the fan noise in the background from the PC. So I apologise for the fan noise, but it's a loud PC because it's a bit of a beast, so it needs to keep itself cool. So sorry about that one. Max says it's obviously through goes Hamilton's silly me, clown face. Yeah, it's really not. It's really not. The thing I remember most from 130R was Leclerc going through it one-handed in 2019? I was thinking about this the other day. I was talking about somebody the other day, I think, or maybe it might have been on stream. He went through one-handed, fixed his mirror, didn't he? Through 130R, which I think shows you how it's not the corner it used to be, but it's still pretty bloody impressive, isn't it, as a corner? So, Prairie Boy says the funny thing about Thrugo's Hamilton is he lost the place immediately after. I mean, there's that, but also the fact that, and I'm not, it's no shade at Lewis Hamilton here. He's still got the moves done, but all he did was stay on the track. The other two went off track. He just stayed on the track and went past them as they went off. So it's not like he went in, you know, with an incredible late braking move and did them both, which would be a very different story. He kind of just didn't go off track. Again, not having to go at him, but it's quite funny that got the voted overtake of the year. But there you go. I think it was overtake of the year, something like that. Some nonsense. Webber can backflip any vehicle, says Phil Reed. Absolutely. When was that? Valencia 20... Was it when Caterham were Lotus? So 2012-ish, somewhere around there, I think. I still have the same problem with the tyres are not gripping at all at the front, says Max Verstappen. So still struggling there. I mean, Killjoy just says, I wonder what happens if Tsunoda doesn't make it out of Q1. At the moment, Tsunoda actually 3/10 again behind Max Verstappen. He's up there in 6th place. So where he needs to be, really, getting on for that quarter of a second mark. First weekend in that car. That's not bad at all from Yuki. That was my concern, was that if Tsunoda has the same problems that Lawson had and Perez had and others have had, what do Red Bull do then? Because, yeah, but then that all got shut up pretty quickly when Helmut Marko basically said that Tsunoda was in for the season. But we've been here before, haven't we, with Red Bull saying one thing and doing another, so we'll see what happens. But, yeah, here comes Isaac Hadjar. I think he had a good start to the season. I know he had that spin before the race started in Australia, but overall, I think a good start to the season for Hadjar as he goes 12th fastest. What can Lawson do as he comes back round? Up to 9th place for Lawson, actually. And Hadjar told you need to get started and then saying he's got the same issue. So he's got a problem with the car. Dust being kicked up there. Is that just somebody... Yeah, so some dirt on the track rather than somebody going off. That's okay then. All good. So... I'm not going to read that Prairie Boy, but I appreciate the bants. I really, really do. And Ruby isn't here to argue, but Ruby always hears these things, so we need to be careful because she'll come and tell us all off if we start making fun of it because, you know. Kimi Antonelli, so just running wide there, a little bit onto the curb. You can see the plank wear getting kicked up. That's the new double curb. Is that a Degner 2 that we've got for this weekend? Couple of track changes mentioned in the preview, some double curbs, some gravel tracks have been added, and we've also got resurfaced or new track surface through the first sector, which didn't cause too many problems for Super Formula, I think. But it's not really caused too many problems this weekend so far from what I've seen either, so that's good. As we look at the nice Haas livery, or the nice Haas car, I guess, at the hands of Ollie Bearman coming through there, through the snaking up the hill. I like the snake up the hill at Suzuka. The overriding memory for me is Irvine around the outside of two cars in 97 and then doing the same again to Villeneuve a lap or two later. Knew where the grip was, did Eddie, having raced in Japan for many years. Going back a bit there once again. Sean's in a history mood, obviously, this weekend because it's Suzuka, so you'll get a lot of that. I will keep an eye on what's happening, but when I suddenly, if I just suddenly go completely vacant, or very quiet, it's because I've remembered something that I want to mention. So I don't know what's wrong with me. I just can't focus. I have so much lap time to find, but it's just not drivable. Says Isaac Hadjar. We tried to reposition it in the garage, says his engineer. So I don't know what's going on there. What I do know is I haven't turned the sound on, which would help if I could just turn it up a bit. As always, let me know if you can hear it over the microphone, because obviously copyright will have a fit if it can. So it shouldn't be a problem. I tend to have it low enough that I could just hear it and not have that coming over the microphone. Bearman goes 5th, actually, by the way. Half a second off Norris's time, but a good lap there from Ollie Bearman. Leclerc's 2nd at the moment. So bottom 5, Alonso, Antonelli, Hamilton, Hadjar, and Stroll. Hamilton is going for a lap now, though. His best lap of 29.1 at the moment, but his personal best at the moment into the first sector, so... Was Sky's widget wrong? Or did Ferrari actually send Hamilton out on the medium tyres? I can tell you in just a sec, actually. Let's have a look. No. According to the timing, he did go out on mediums with 3 laps on them. So that 29.1 on the mediums is about to be very much improved on the 28.3 to go 6. So yeah, that he did go out on the mediums. So maybe used an extra set of softs, I don't know, but Leclerc and Tsunoda both on used softs according to the timing as well. So RC says it's way too early in the morning. Oh, come on. I've been up since 5, RC. Come on, mate. Too early in the morning. God. Bearman, we're just saying in his commentary, Bearman very tight across the line there to the pit wall. Even kicks a bit of grass as well. There you go. Interesting. It's midnight in Canada, says Prairie Boy. The Haas looks like it has Flover's paint on it, says Michael. Hadjar looks quite animated in the cockpit in the garage. He's not comfortable in that car at all. I wonder why. I wonder what's... Yeah, some faces being pulled there. I don't know what the mechanic's doing. It's a bit of a dodgy angle, let's say, but I wonder what's going on there. Hopefully all okay for Hadjar. Lizzie says, well, it seems Tsunoda is indeed able to drive the cursed Red Bull. Yeah. I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself on it. I've done this before with drivers who have had a really good session or whatever in a car that's difficult or where others have struggled, and then it falls apart in the race or at the next weekend. So far, he looks good. The other thing as well, I'm not having to go at you, Lizzie, at all. Not at all. The cursed thing, I think it's fun to kind of come at it from that angle. We've all done it, but I think that does also mask what the actual problem is a little bit. And again, I'm not having at you, Lizzie, at all. I think calling it a cursed car kind of makes light of the fact that it's just a bit crap. To be honest, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, but yeah, I get it. I get why we call it that. It does feel cursed, but it also just not a very good car. But Yuki does definitely appear to have got to grips with it a little bit more quickly than others have, and maybe he is going to be the answer, and it's no surprise to me, and it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, because it was for the 15th time in the last 2 weeks, it was the way to go at the end of last season. They chose to go with Lawson and burn through a young driver, so there you go. If this is what ruins our qualifying, I'm sorry, is what Hadjar's saying. Have we got, just let me know in chat, have we got, has there actually been, because I didn't have the sound on, did I, for a little while, have we actually got has Hadjar said what the actual problem is, or do we know what the actual problem is, or are we going to have to wait and see after the session what's going on there? Just let me know if there is anything in chat. Lizzie says Perez was impressive at first too. Yeah, I think Perez super quickly, because we've taught this to death, haven't we, over the last few weeks? But Sergio, or the last 2 years really, Sergio Perez started really well at Red Bull, and whilst it was the right decision to let him go at the end of last year, because definitive insanity, doing the same thing, blah blah blah. Something had to happen because he wasn't getting to grips with the car, so they had to make a change. But let's not forget the role he played at that team to help them win championships, and he won races and podiums. It was only 12 months ago at Suzuka that he was second to Verstappen in a Red Bull 1-2, so he did have good races. It wasn't all bad. So let's not forget Perez. I think he said it himself this week, actually. People forget what you've achieved in F1 when you start to have bad years, but still a good driver, Perez. Just didn't work for him at Red Bull. Hadjar's still on the radio, saying the issue's still here. Can't believe it. Apparently seatbelt, which is why he isn't saying anything over the radio, says Cameron. So possibly having the issue, belts loosening during practice, says Killjoy. So maybe that's an issue. Jamie says an FP3 referenced a problem in the cockpit, but didn't want to say what it was on the radio. So Sky suggested a problem with his belt, so maybe it was, yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to say Toe. I'm going to call you Toe. Why Toe? There you go. I don't want to butcher your username there, but saying put Verstappen in Mercedes and let's call it a day. I suspect it's where we're heading. Michael says seatbelt crushing his manhood. There we go. Lovely. Piastri goes fastest on a 127, 687. Why does that tickle me? It just has. I think the word manhood. 39, Sean. Tsunoda goes fifth, 300ths-ish off Max Verstappen. So good luck there from Yuki Tsunoda. He's going to get through. Hamilton goes into fourth place. Here goes Antonelli up to seventh, ahead of Russell, actually, who still needs to do another run. So good luck from Antonelli. 3/10 separating the top seven. Good stuff from him. Russell now goes second, a 10.5 off Piastri. Lots of people improving here as we come into the last 30 seconds. Ocon, Lawson, Alonso, Hadjar, and Stroll all on the cusp of being knocked out at the moment. No curb in the chicane for Alonso. Over the line, he goes into 11th place, 6.5 tenths off the fastest time. Will that be enough to get him through? Sainz goes up to 9th place. Alonso drops to 12th. Who's in trouble here? Doohan is 16th. Hulkenberg on the bubble. Gasly goes 9th. That's the checkered flag. Session is over. Just let these guys get their laps in. See what happens. Hadjar's actually on a really good lap here. 4 tenths up on his personal best. Over the line goes Doohan. Doohan is out. Stays 16th. He was apparently the first one to take the checkered flag. Here goes Hadjar, who struggled all session. Actually goes 12th. So a very good lap for Isaac Hadjar there on a 128.278. He gets through. Now we'll wait and see what happens here. Lawson in the bottom 5. Ocon goes into 15th. He sneaks through. Bearman 13th. Well, wait, Lawson not improving here. Lawson is having a rough old lap here as Hulkenberg goes 15th. Jumps through, so knocks Ocon out. So we've lost Ocon, Bortoleto, Doohan, Lawson, and Stroll at the moment. Lawson is improving now in the middle sector. So poor first sector. Or not a personal best first sector. Personal best in the middle. Bortoleto goes 16th. Here comes Liam Lawson round the final corner and goes 15th. So does get through. Sneaks through. First time this season as Bearman goes 12th with his tight lines to the wall there. So we've lost Nico Hulkenberg, Gabriel Bortoleto, Esteban Ocon, Jack Doohan, and Lance Stroll. 1.5 seconds off the pace and cut well adrift there in terms of lap time, actually. So, yeah, Piastri fastest. Hulkenberg, Bortoleto, Ocon, Doohan, and Stroll all out. All out. So Liam just sneaking through there by a couple of hundredths of a second less than. So, very, very close. Pascal will be gutted with that, I'd imagine, because it looked like we were going to get a Sauber through to Q2. But, yeah, not quite in the end. Yeah. Hadjar still not happy, but did get through, and they're going to get him out of the car and see what's going on. So if he's got a lap belt issue or a seat belt issue, I wonder if they might have the FIA knocking on the door to check things. But he's going to get out of the car. So that's going to that I'd imagine that will cost him a run. Oh, maybe not. We've got sort of a few minutes, haven't we, between sessions? But he's got to get out of the car. They're going to check it, try and resolve the issue. I can imagine if things are being crushed down there, it's not going to be pleasant, is it? Not going to be comfortable. So only Red Bulls like are the summer flavors. Only Red Bulls I like are the summer flavours, says Prairie Boy. I decided to read half your comment there rather than the whole thing. I apologise. Yeah. What's with Hadjar? Did a safety harness come off and the repair job made his sitting position uncomfortable, says Addy Boy. We're still trying to work it out, but that's a fair point, actually. And what's your... I think, Jake, that's opinion, is it? What's your opinion on the Red Bull Japanese tribute livery? Preferred the Turkey one for a few years ago, but I do like this one, particularly the metallic. Is that the word I'm looking for? So the Red Bull on the metallic-y effect, rather than just everything being matte. I do like that a lot. So but I did prefer the Turkey one last year. Not there's anything wrong with this one, but it's a nice livery, and we'll be back to the usual one, I'm sure, with no problem whatsoever. for the next race. Next 2 races pretty quick, aren't they? Bahrain next week and Saudi the week after. So there we go. Yuki barely behind Max. Q2, I'll take it. Again, Verstappen a 1:27.943, Yuki a 1:27.967. So already getting through to Q2 for this weekend, at least. That's justified the decision, hasn't it? Because he's got through, which Lawson didn't do for the first 2 races. So early days yet. I'm not going to get too excited for Yuki. We've been here before, haven't we? So let's hope he gets it right. What happened to Doohan? I just couldn't hold the lap up. The thing for Doohan as well is his weekends just continue to snowball, hasn't it? Because missed FP1, so no laps there because Hirakawa was in the car. Then crashed in FP2, but we had a ton of red flags anyway for the fires, so that was all a mess for him. And he only got FP3 this morning, which also featured 2 red flags for fires. So it's just not got the laps in. So anything for Doohan this weekend is going to be difficult. But it doesn't look good, does it, when Gasly's 9th and he's 19th? But I think there are circumstances there. The trouble is, and I'll keep saying it, he's not going to get the benefit of time, is he? Because I still think the plan is to get Colin Pinto in that car at the first opportunity. So I agree, Prairie Boy, 100%. We'll see what happens with Doohan. Hopefully, I asked at Autosport, asked people if they thought he'd make it to Miami. A lot of people said no. And by a lot of people, I mean like the 4 or 5 people that actually spoke to us. But I don't know what was up with people at Autosport this year. They just all seem so foul. I think it's because it cost £52 to get in for the day. And it was a bit cack. But there you go. What is the weather going to be for the race? Says Red Dot. It's supposed to be dry for the race, but it is supposed to rain tonight and tomorrow morning. So we might end up with something like a damp start, but it's not. I think 40% chance of rain, so 60% chance it stays dry for the race, but it is something like an 80% chance of rain in the morning. So we could. What's going to happen is all the rubber's going to get washed away. We get a nice greasy track, so that'll be a part. But it could rain tomorrow. But the thing is with Suzuka, it could. It's a bit like. It's not quite to the extent that a Belgium or a Brazil is, but it can very much catch you off guard, the rain here, and come out of nowhere. So. We'll see, but a bit of rain would be nice tomorrow just to give us some drama. And that's, I think he's spiraling mentally. We're still on Doohan, aren't we? Yeah, so maybe. Before we get to the next session, 1,400 of you here. Thank you so much for joining me this Saturday morning here in the UK and across Europe and elsewhere in the world. Please do drop a like. We're at 66 likes, so let's get some likes on the board. That'd be great. I'll keep the poll going for now on who you think's going to get poll for poll. 61% McLaren, 13% Red Bull, 21% Ferrari, 5% Mercedes. I'll end that at the end of this session, but a lot of you saying it's going to be a McLaren poll today. So yes, likes and subs, all the usual YouTuber spiel. Please do that. It's all free and it really helps channel in the old algorithm. So thank you for your support on the channel. And indeed, actually, for the first watch-alongs of the season, for the first 2 weekends, some nice numbers on there. So thank you very much for popping along and joining me. I know it's not a bit rough around the edges, but that's me to a T. That's the channel to a T, let's be honest. I'm not going to go back into it, but yeah. Off we go for Q2 then. Max Verstappen out on track pretty much straight away. Ollie Bearman just behind him as well. So let's see what goes on here. 2:30 a.m. says Brian. That's where Brian is. So there we go. It's nearly 7:30 here in the UK. So a bit more normal time now, I would say. Says Sean, who isn't usually out of bed before about 8:30. So there we go. Better than it used to be. When this was a self-employed job, it used to be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's a move in the right direction. If nothing else, Planet F1 have got me out of bed on the morning. So there you go. That's something. That's a win. Here we go then. What have we got? Everyone just gearing up for their laps. I'll do some questions and comments while we're just waiting for them to start their laps. Everybody on soft tyres. Interestingly, Leclerc, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Bearman, Piastri, and Russell on used tyres. MD Games, member for 13 months. Thank you very much, mate, for your continued support. Really appreciate that. Prairie Boy says you can sleep when you are no longer here. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a depressing thought, isn't it? But I like to enjoy my sleep, so there you go. I'd rather be able to be aware that I've slept. It's true, though. True. Although I think I said before, I said last time, I've spent much of my life living off about 4 hours sleep. Certainly my working life, because I used to be... I've worked in care, I've worked as a chef, or I'm a trained chef. Shocking, I know. Jobs I've had have just always been really late night, and say 4 hours sleep, so you can actually have some sort of a day. Yeah. I manage. It does people's head in. My mum can't understand it. She needs a good 8 hours, apparently, but, you know, I can do it on 4. Still young, that's why. Still a spring chicken. Don't feel it. Max Verstappen on board with his visor cam, snaking up the hill at Suzuka. First one to get a lap in. The visor cam is much more stable this year, it looks to be. Purple in the first sector, obviously, because he's the first one to set a lap through there. Nicely out there of the Degner 2, or the 2 Degners, into the hairpin. He's got his... I was going to say teammate. It's not, is it? Because the cars are both white. All 4 of them are white this weekend, sorry. So that's going to throw him. It goes past the Racing Bull as he comes into Spoon. Nicely through there. I just realised I stopped talking there, sorry. Coming out of Spoon quite nicely. And then this long run all the way down to 130. He's got an Aston Martin in front of him. That'll be Fernando Alonso, who will, I imagine, hop out of his way, will he? Or will he keep going? He'll hop out his way there at the chicane. Max goes in there nicely through there. Some good curb as well, actually, in the second part of that chicane for Max. Through the final corner and tight line again, and obviously goes fastest. First one to do a lap, 27.502. Tsunoda a couple of tenths down. Leclerc a little bit quicker than Tsunoda, but still down on Verstappen. What's Yuki going to do as he comes up to 130? Gasly goes second on 127.9. Bearman a 128.1. Used tyres for Bearman, don't forget that one. What does he do curb-wise? Max needs to use more on exit than... Oof. Wallop that one on the inside. Did Yuki. 128.1 for Tsunoda. So 6 tenths off his teammate at that point. Norris purple at the moment, as you might expect. And Leclerc goes second at the moment. So Norris is about to trump all of that as Hamilton goes up to second place. Just quicker than his teammate. Fraction in it. Nothing at all. Over the line goes Lando Norris at 127.146. Comfortably quicker than anybody else at the moment. And he's currently quicker than his teammate as well. So Craig says, spent your night spitting in food, ? No, I'm not that disgusting. I've worked with people who are that disgusting, but I wouldn't do that, because that idea that would happen to me is just not... Oh, no. No. Ugh. just the idea that comes back around and bites you. As I thought Piastri was slowing down there. He wasn't. It just was a trick of the camera. Comes through 130 up. He's going to go about second or third here, Piastri. He's not going to be trumping Norris at the moment unless he has an incredible final couple of corners. He'll probably do that now just to spite me. Goes third. Quite a well. It's nearly half a second of his teammate, actually, in the end. So looking like Norris' day at the moment. Still a long way to go in this session as Russell goes into second place. Again, quietly going about his business. A little bit under the radar, actually, I would say, for George. So I tried to live to Crofty there out of the weather, but he wasn't saying what I thought he was saying. He was rambling as he does. I know the feeling. Albon through the final corner, over the line, 127.7, and goes 5th fastest at the moment. So first laps on the board. Sainz, Alonso, Bearman, Tsunoda and Lawson in the bottom 5. Tsunoda was on used tyres, as was Bearman, so more time there for both of those. Hamilton and Leclerc too on the used tyres, so there should be more time for them as well. So now things will go a bit quieter as they start to come back round. Weston says, love you, Sean. Used to watch this channel on my lunch at university in like 2018. Thank you very much, Weston. Hope you're well. 2018. Oh, red flag. Have we got a fire again? Yeah, thank you, Weston. Appreciate that. 2018 feels like forever ago, but also like yesterday, doesn't it? We've got a fire by the look of it. Nobody stopped on track, so I assume that's where we're going here. We have got a red flag, so there we go. Oh. Let's see. Well, yeah, we're not there yet. Yeah, we got a grass fire. Yeah. They are summer though. They're absolutely ridiculous. But it's quite I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, and you can tell me off in chat if you want, but there's a lot of talk, oh, what do they do about these fires and it's like water. Did I miss something in science? I don't understand why they're going around and they're wetting the parts of the grass that have already caught fire. They're not doing all of the grass. I know that's a hell of a job, but come on, that's quite a patch as well. And now they'll run out of the fire extinguisher to put that one out, and then we'll go again. Yeah, do you know what? Actually, Sad Mariners fan saying at this point, pray it's a rain race, just so the fires don't happen tomorrow. Yeah, we don't want this in the race tomorrow, do we? It's just be red flag, red flag. Although I assume in the race it'll be safety cars. Would you think? Surely the race will be safety cars rather than red flagging every 5 laps. Although that would be chaos. Who's crashed? Nobody's crashed. It's the grass on fire. And G says, "What? How is the grass catching fire?" It's really dry. The grass is it's yellow everywhere. It's really, really dry. The grass. And what's happening is these titanium skid blocks, they spark, don't they? So when they're hitting the ground, these sparks are then flying into the grass and setting fire to it. So it's weird, but here we are. Another one. Invest in some sprinklers, says Brian. Yeah. Just get some water down there, get a hose pipe. It's all good. Can I have an update, please? Says, is it Jesus Moreno? Not looking at the race. Yeah, of course you can. No problem. So Lando Norris is currently fastest, 1:27.146, followed by George Russell, who's quarter of a second behind. Max Verstappen third, Piastri in fourth place. There's half a second-ish between the top 4. Albon fifth, Hamilton sixth, and Leclerc in 7th, with Antonelli 8th and Hadjar 9th and Gasly in 10th place. At the moment in the drop zone, Sainz, Alonso, Bearman, Tsunoda and Lawson. Not a lot between each car. A big gap between Norris and Lawson, 1st and 15th, 1.1 seconds, but kind of small gaps between each car. So find a 10th or 2 here and you could jump quite a few places. So quite a lot going on in that regard in the next 8 minutes, I'd imagine. And Hulkenberg, Bortoleto, Ocon, Doohan and Stroll have all dropped out of Q1. So yeah, that's where we're at the moment. And a red flag because of another grass fire. The 6th of the weekend. 3 in FP2, 2 in FP3, and then 1 now. So is that a wrap? I'll have a quick drink very quickly. Just he choked to death on a drink there. There we go. Imagine if tomorrow the FIA have to bring out the 2-lap race rule because of grass fires causing safety cars, says Knox. I'll tell you what, that'll be a long live stream, won't it? Goodness me. I can fill a red flag period. No problem there at all. But yeah, that would be madness if we got to that point. So yeah, waiting now for a session to get going again due to another fire. Has anyone sung Kings of Leon? Yeah, but grass on fire instead of... I'm not saying that word because then the bots will turn up and yeah. I can't bother to sit and block them all today. So Shannon says, who's your favourites? Of all time, Michael Schumacher. No doubt about that. On the grid right now. I have favourite. I don't have a favourite. So Verstappen, Leclerc, Piastri. Yeah. I don't really... It's difficult to support a driver for some reason at the minute. I can't seem to get behind one, so I've got sort of 2 or 3, but yeah. Estimated time of Q2 resumption, that's the official line, 15:39, so in about 2 minutes time, estimated. I'm not sure what I've got estimate, and the track is green, so it will resume at 15:39. That's been decided now, so 2 minutes from now. We are ready to go, just about. Track is green. I'll pop the green flag back on when we're actually going, but car starts like at the end of the pit lane now, so any minute. Do you think it could timer and plus 1 lap could come into play for the race, says Rocket P-Bird? If we keep getting this, then yeah. I don't know what the solution, other than just dousing everything in water, which is supposed to happen tonight with the rain. There's not a lot they can do, but they put chemicals down or something in China last year to stop this. Maybe that, like I said, about the 6th, I think now. 80% chance of rain tomorrow. I don't think grass fires will be an issue. If so, says Sneed. Yeah, as long as the rain falls. Yeah, like you say, if so, hopefully it does fall. And if it does get a grass fire, maybe it'll chuck it down the race as well. There you go. No, there's no lights for night running if it does. The sun does set here, but hopefully, we're not gonna have to still be here in 6 hours time. Or what I don't know what sunset is. I assume. So when race tomorrow is 6 a.m. UK. So hang on a sec. Let me just have a look while we're waiting to get going properly here. So local time tomorrow, the race is 2 p.m. and we're 3 p.m. local time for quali. It's about 20 to 4 local time. So I think we've got a while till sunset. So it shouldn't be an issue, but I mean, it depends, doesn't it? How many red flags we're going to get, but I suppose they can set a grid now, so. They should just burn all the grass overnight. It says, yeah, just get rid of it all. Gravel wouldn't do this. I think somebody else made that joke, didn't they, in the coverage? Yes, we are green. We'll go again. Just starting now, so cars exit the pit lane. Hamilton, Leclerc, first 2 out on track. I should say, actually, just back to the who's your favourite thing. Probably, if we're picking a favourite, I say, team Ferrari. Because I can't not be, given the success. The success we enjoyed back in the early 2000s. Which actually appears to be the exception rather than a rule with Ferrari. So there we go. Hopefully those glory days will come again at some point. Hopefully. So we've got 7 minutes just over left in this session. Cars going for second runs. Just a reminder, Norris, Russell, Verstappen, Piastri, Albon, Hamilton, Leclerc, Antonelli, Hadjar and Gasly, your top 10. Sainz, Alonso, Bearman, Tsunoda and Lawson, your bottom 5. We've already lost Hulkenberg, Bortoleto, Ocon, Doohan and Lance Stroll. So, ready to go. Which of Schumacher's Ferraris is your favourite, Sean, says Max. Oh, now then. So, 2004, gorgeous looking car, but also insanely dominant, so it's kind of hard not to love that. But there's just something about the late 90s, early 2000s or early noughties F1 cars, and particularly the 2000 Ferrari, that I love. The raised nose, the white wings, it just all look great to me. So any of them that won, but I am partial to a late 90s, early noughties F1 car, but that could just be that's what I grew up with, so maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but yeah, I'll go with 2000 because it ended the drought. But 2004 was a very special car as well. The great thing about those days as a Ferrari fan as well was that they could turn up with last year's car, still dominate early doors, and then bring a new car and continue to dominate. So how I long for those days for Charles Leclerc to turn up in last year's Ferrari, win the first 3 races, and then bring the new Ferrari and keep winning. I do as well, Spoolie. The sound of a great V10. But looks like that's going to get voted down, the idea of going back to V10s, by the way, by manufacturers who think they're road relevant in Formula One. So that's a shame, but hey-ho. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the long run. Lewis Hamilton is going to come through and complete his lap. He is on a set of new tyres, yes, on this run. So what's the camera doing? Camera's gone mad there for some reason. Overlying goes Hamilton into P4. 127.610. Leclerc will be next across the line. This is what I was saying earlier. Leclerc now 4th. FP3, they looked a bit more in the mix, and now they're sort of it's about the same gap, isn't it, I suppose? But I completely agree. Is it Joachim or Joachim, or you know who you are? But yeah, no, I agree. It is absolutely nonsense, and has been for many years, if not entirely forever. Schumi could have won in 2007, says CPB1. He could win today. Well, he couldn't today, obviously. That was a really bad thing to say. If he was well, bless him, he could, is the point I was making. But that's because I'm insanely biased. So there we go. You'll get no Schumacher slander from me. You'll all want me to. You'll all try and push the buttons, but it'll not happen. Definitely not. First sector was rubbish from me, says Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Hamilton wasn't happy either by the sounds of it, according to Crofty. So Tsunoda's 14th at the moment. Lawson in 15th. That'd be, dare I say, hilarious, wouldn't it? Lining up alongside each other on a grid back there. Awkward. Very awkward. But here comes Yuki Tsunoda now to start his lap. You would think he'll improve on that. He's been good so far this weekend, but still early doors. We keep saying others have been pretty good as well. CR7 Man United says, can I have a shout out? You absolutely can, because your name is CR7 Man United. You absolutely can. There you go. You got a shout out. It looked a bit twitchy through, unless it was the camera, a little bit twitchy through the towards the top of the hill there. And Tsunoda is a 10th down on Gasly in 10th place. Interesting. So Tsunoda seems to be struggling at this phase. He's on new tyres, aren't they? Yeah, new tyres. Slower than Gasly in the first sector. He's going to have to go again, I think, unless he can pull out a really great middle and final sector. But there's a big moment in turn 2, according to Anthony Davidson, for Tsunoda. I did say go up the hill, it looks a bit twitchy. Wide out of the exit spoon there. So it's a bit of a scruffy lap, this, from Tsunoda, when he needed to be getting it together. What's he done in the middle sector? 10.5 to beat. He's marginally up, but he was also a 10th down. So I would say still down overall, you'd have thought. But he needs a lap pace now. I think he's going to have to cool down and go again, I think. If he can, he should have enough time. He goes 11th, only 11th for Tsunoda. He has to go again. He's going to have to try. Otherwise, he's in trouble here. Meanwhile, Liam Law, the nose cam we've got this weekend, the flexing on these front wings is insane. Love it. Here goes Liam Lawson round the final corner. Tsunoda 11th. Lawson goes 10th. Okay. Hadjar's 8th, by the way, at the moment. So he's doing a great job, all things considered. Bearman is absolutely flying, by the way, so I think Lawson's going to drop out anyway. But I wonder... So he had the problem at turn 2, according to Anthony Davidson. Alonso goes 10th. Cracking up. Bearman goes 8th. Good lap from Ollie Bearman there. Gasly's on one as well. Everybody improving out there. pretty much across the board, those who are pushing. I think Gasly's about to put in a decent lap. He goes 11th, which isn't terrible. That's going to be a good place potentially for him to start tomorrow. Might drop to 12th if Sainz continues to improve and can get something together here. Inside the last 45 seconds, Tsunoda is not going to get a lap in again. So Tsunoda is done. Tsunoda is out in 14th place. Which, I mean, that's an improvement on where they were in China and Australia in that second car, but it's still not where they wanted to be. Verstappen in third, by the way. Piastri goes fourth. Stays fourth. Sorry, that's not a new lap, is it? Might be, I don't know. But Sainz goes 12th. So Gasly is going to be 11th at the moment. So Sainz can't quite get through. So we are, I think... Ooh. Moment at turn one there for... Now, was Hamilton on a flying lap there? Hamilton was on a flying lap. So that is going to be a penalty for Carlos Sainz. 100%. Absolutely 100%. We'll see a replay in a minute, I'm sure. But we have lost Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Liam Lawson 14th, Yuki Tsunoda in 15th place. I said it'd be funny if they lined up on the road together, didn't I? So there we go. 14th and 15th. We don't. Good first sector for Leclerc, by the way. We did see the snaking up the hill was a bit twitchy, wide at the exit of Spoon, but also Anthony Davis has said on commentary that he thinks that Tsunoda had an issue in turn 2 as well. So we'll see if we get a replay of that, which will explain where that time's gone. But 15th place for Tsunoda is not what we're expecting coming into this session, given how close he was to Verstappen in Q1 and indeed in practice this morning. So that's half a second between them. I think that would be a penalty for Sainz when we get a replay. We'll have a look, but he's 12th at the moment. Over the line goes Leclerc, stays 5th, and Hamilton done as well. So, waiting to get a replay of this Hamilton situation with Sainz. They're showing this track dominance graphic is... Yeah. As with quite a few of the graphics, actually kind of pointless, really. I mean, Jacques Villeneuve made the point at this morning in the FP3 coverage that track dominance graphic, it might show somebody as the best comfortably over a lap, but actually it might only be by 1,000th here, half a tenth there, and it's not a lot between it, but the word dominance makes it sound... Yeah. So Norris fastest, Russell second, Verstappen third, Piastri fourth, Leclerc fifth, Hamilton sixth, Antonelli seventh, Bearman eighth. Great lap there for Bearman. Great from Hadjar as well, all things considered, in ninth place, and Alex Albon in 10th, just sneaking through by about 400ths of a second. Gasly, I think that's decent for Gasly in 11th place there. It's a good place to start. Not as good as it used to be when we had the Q2 tyre rule. Sainz in 12th, Alonso 13th, Lawson in 14th. So improvement for him is the positive there. Well behind his teammate, but, or 3/10, about a tenth of his teammate, 10th and a half. So not too bad for his first weekend in that car, but still out in Q2 and an improvement on where he was at Red Bull. So that's something for him in 14th. And 15th for Tsunoda. Bit of a surprise there, all things considered this weekend, but also tried to look at the positive side of things, given where Lawson was in that car in China and in Australia. That is also an improvement. So trying to be looking at the positive side rather than just always the negative, but still 15th place is not where Red Bull wants their second driver to be, especially Verstappen up in third place. There we go. As always, I'm not going to be judging a driver on their first weekend in a car. I'm just not going to do it. I'm sure there'll be plenty of clickbait on YouTube later from people trying to make something out of it, but it's one session, it's one weekend. Let's give people time. I know Red Bull, of course, as we know, famous for giving drivers plenty of time. Is Sainz actually a good driver and he's struggling now, or was Ferrari just making his not so good driving, says Nini. Sainz is a good driver. He is a good driver, and it's going to take time to adapt. And again, it's only his third weekend in that car, so we'll cut him some slack for now, but as I always say, you get 6, 7, 8, 9 races into a season, these conversations change, but it's a completely different car completely different team dynamic, completely different expectations as well. So he'll get there. Carlos Sainz will. But what I would say from a Williams point of view is that's Ollie Bearman very happy on the radio there with Q3. What I will say, that's a big improvement on where they were this time last year with their second driver. Or that's a penalty for Sainz all day long. Surely. Have you seen the replay, chat? Let me know what you think. Surely that's a penalty for Sainz there. Hamilton's coming in to start a hot lap. Sainz on the racing line, forces Hamilton to have to take evasive action, slows down, and that's the end of that lap. So that has to be. Has to be. Shannon says, Sean, do you think Piastri could get pole? He could, but I think Norris has got this in the bag if he doesn't make a mistake somewhere. So, yeah. So, he could and he can, but I just think Norris seems to have the edge this weekend thus far. So, I'd like to see Piastri on pole. I'd like him to get a sort of back-to-back wins at some stage soon. So I'd like Piastri pole, but I think Norris appears to have this. But I will say keep an eye on George Russell here. He could be a spanner in the works, if you like, for the old McLarens this weekend. But yeah, well, he did. He was twitching in turn 2. A big correction in there. I wanted to see the off-board. I'm sure he was twitching through there, but yeah. What's Alonso going to do? Is he going to do the same thing? Watching the replays with Anthony Davidson here. Yeah, same thing as well. Big correction in the corner, so time lost there. Have a quick drink, and then we're ready to go for Q3. Ollie Bearman, does he celebrate in the car going through the Q3? His dad does. I was going to ask who that man was then, and then I looked at the face, was like, well, that's Ollie Bearman's dad, isn't it? Quite clearly Ollie Bearman's dad. There we go. Yeah, I'll do the usual bit. Please do leave a like, by the way. We're nearly at 200 likes, 1,800 of you here. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Appreciate your company this Saturday. And I'll be live tomorrow for the race from 5:30 a.m. I believe, to our race at 6 a.m. UK. So yeah, 5:30 a.m. tomorrow, BST, for the race watch along. So likes and subs appreciated. There'll be a video out on Monday, which I believe Elizabeth is tackling. So that's good stuff. We'll see how that goes. Might become a thing while Sean focuses on the other stuff. For the week to come, because it's a triple header. So yes, that'll be out on Monday, and then there'll be shorts as well through the week, the preview on Thursday, and then we'll be live again for the weekend for Bahrain and of course Saudi Arabia as well. So likes and subs really appreciated. I'll do a couple of shout outs while we're just waiting for this to get going as well. Thank you to Citrus, to Vincent J, to Tim, to Tea Time, to Stefan, to Andy, and to another Andy, Andrew, for subscribing, Fabio as well, and Bruh XD Triggered. Or yeah, thank you very much for your sub as well. Appreciated. Yeah, there you go. That's my YouTuber stuff done. I'll do it again a little bit later. But yeah, I'm going to end the poll now. I am going to do it this week. I didn't do it last week, and I wonder why so many of you were right about who got poll. Because you cheated. That's why. Let's have a look. Is it going to give you the answer? The results of the poll? It's thinking about it. It's not going to do it, is it? It's going to be awkward. I think you went with McLaren in the end. Let's do another refresh and see if I can get that to pop up. If it's already popped up in chat, you know the result. Indeed, yes. McLaren, 61% of you say McLaren will get pole position. 20% have gone with Ferrari. 14 have gone with Mercedes. And 14 have gone Red Bull. 4 have gone for Mercedes. I don't think George Russell's going to get pole. I think it is going to be Lando Norris. Let me know who you think is getting pole in the chat. Give me your surname or your top 3, whatever you want to do, and I'll read a couple out while we get going here. But I think you're sleeping on George a bit there, but I don't think he's going to get pole, but I think he's going to be right up there, looking good there. So, Prairie Boy's gone with Max as we get going for Q3. Yeah, Q3 is go. Max for Prairie Boy. Michael's gone with Lando. Jacob says Antonelli, which is fantastic stuff. Jerry says, I think Piastri. I'd love it to be Piastri, I really would. Norris, Piastri, and Russell says, bruh. Rocket P-Bird says Verstappen, Leclerc, and Hamilton. James says, my suggestion for top 3 in qualifying: Norris 1, Verstappen 2, Russell 3. Shannon wants Piastri. Russell second says Paradox. Yeah. You can split the McLarens here, and if Verstappen gets in there as well, that might make things interesting tomorrow. Piastri, Norris, and Russell for Jerry. Remember when everyone speculating Alex would have a hard time alongside Carlos, says Kev. If you caught any content over the winter from me, Kev, then you'll know that I wasn't one of those. I said that it'd be closer than a lot of people thought it would be. A lot of people thought Carlos was going to get in that Williams and destroy Alex Albon, and it is only 3 races, of course, or 3 race weekends, but at the moment, Alex is very much holding his own, so he does know the car inside out, as well as Jerome says in chat there, so that helps. But yeah, a lot of people thought that was going to be a shoe-in for Sainz, and I said that it would be a lot closer, and maybe come the end of the season I'll be wrong, but right now, yeah, I'm not. But long way to go this season. We've only had 3 race weekends, not even a full one here yet. So Carlos will get it together. Is it Droid or Droid Man says, I want to see Colapinto in the track ASAP. Raul says Oscar, Norris, and Max. Alex knows the car inside out. I've read that one. Yeah, Bearman is quite impressive. Says Shannon. Yeah, he's impressed me so far this weekend into Q3 as well. He was happy on the radio, wasn't he, when he pulled that one off? So there we go. George Russell is on a lap now, so we'll keep an eye on what's happening. I'll keep you updated as we approach the 9.5 minute mark now, or left on the timer. Nice. It's really nice, and I'm trying to trying to sort of talk you through it, but I'm also sort of watching how tidy this looks. Nice and calm, and everything from George. Not too many corrections in there. What's he going to do at the hairpin as he comes in here? Yeah, the wide line, as I say, for a good exit. A little bit of a correction on the exit as he comes through there, but still nice and clean and tidy. Driving well. That Mercedes looks pretty all right this year so far, doesn't it? So I'm a bit surprised by it. We'll see how things go tomorrow, and we might have a quick chat about George Russell for a minute or two after the session finishes tomorrow, the race finishes tomorrow, and see where he's at. But if he can be in the mix again this weekend, I'll be impressed given what they were saying over the winter. So into the final chicane, very close to the grass on the left-hand side there. Nicely through there, not too aggressive on the curbs. So maybe some more time to find in there. Going to cross the line on a 127.3. Purple across the board, obviously, because he's the only one to do a lap at this stage, or he was. Bearman and Antonelli have done them as well. Hadjar now goes second. So good stuff from Russell. So just in terms of used tyres, Hadjar, Bearman, Antonelli, and Albon, according to the timing, have all got used tyres on, so bear that in mind for those lap times. Piastri currently purple in the middle sector. Over the line goes Verstappen to go fastest for now by a very small margin, actually, over George Russell, 0.04 of a second. Piastri goes fastest, so a couple of tenths quicker, so looking very comfortable. Here goes Lando Norris as well. He's going to be in the last chicane. Now, in fact, he's out of the last chicane. Round the final corner, over the line he goes, and goes 4th. Interesting. Fudd says Norris dropped 0.3 in sector 1. Hamilton 5th. Leclerc, round that final corner, over the line he goes 3rd, 2.5 tenths off Piastri. Russell 4th, Norris 5th. So Sean's prediction of Norris pole, and then Russell and Verstappen splitting the McLarens is wrong, and sort of right at the same time. Verstappen and Russell are splitting the McLarens, but we've got another car in there in Charles Leclerc now. So what's Ollie Bearman done through turn 2? Very wide on exit, so that's going to cost him time now, and maybe, is that going to be lap time deleted? No, he should. No, he's maybe. Maybe. Kept his foot in, to be fair to him. Lando lost some tyres somewhere around the track, says James. I think Piastri, Norris, then Max or Charles, says Ali. We've got the track dominance thing on again for some reason. Don't know what to say now. It is looking good for McLaren, isn't it? But Norris, I imagine, will find the time somewhere as they both come into the pit lane. Mad says Matt is still pedaling the wheels off that tractor. Yeah, second at the moment, 2/10 off at the fastest time. As long as Norris doesn't get frustrated and blame himself, he can still get the pole back. But this is exactly the situation he struggles, says Fudd. We've seen it in the past, haven't we? We have seen it in the past. So Piastri. I'd like Piastri to win the championship now. And I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, really, but it's inevitable that when we're looking at probably McLaren being the favourites at the moment, you're going to talk about Piastri v Norris. But I'd like Piastri to do it. Just it's been a long time since Australian world champion, hasn't it? 1980? Tell me, chat. Am I right or am I wrong? Ali says Norris 25, Piastri 26. It must be 1980. Alan Jones. I'll have a look at it a bit. If you'll let me know, chat, if I'm wrong, I'm sure you'll be quick to let me know that one. But yeah, I think Alan Jones 1980. Last Aussie world champ. Mark Webber, not a million miles away, of course, in 2010, was he? So, what we're watching on the replay, Hamilton here, coming through Degner 1 and into Degner 2. I'm guessing wide. Oh, big moment, actually. Good correction there on exit. So, big back. Look at the back end there on a Ferrari across the curves at the exit Degner 2. Just saying a year starting with 19 is a long time now, says Mad. Yeah. I mean, I was born in 1986. Like, wow. Sean's ancient. Then Bradman 3 times, twice in his own car, says Craig. Yeah. Fuzz says 1986, you're just a wee baby. Fuzz will be like, I was born in 1832. I don't know why I did the accent or the weird voice, but there you go. That's how Fudd now talks. I'm so sorry. There is time to find here for drivers. So there'll be time to find for Antonelli, for Hamilton. I mean, I think, to be fair, let's not start saying everybody's going to find time here. But I mean, in terms of the battle further up, I mean, you'd think Norris will find some more time than that. I'd be very surprised if he ends the session in 5th place. Prairie Boy is an 86 baby too. It's the best year. It's the best year. Paradox says boomer. I'm a millennial, I'm afraid. I'm not a boomer. I've got a boomer mentality at times, but I think that just comes with age. To be honest, I don't think that's a specific generation. I think that just comes with age. I was really grumpy yesterday for no reason, because I don't even know why. I just was. About nothing. Everything was making me mad. Oh, wait for it to get the laps going now. Sorry, seeing what's going on. Wait for it to get the laps going. This is the awkward bit while we wait for the big final push for pole. I'm getting in to get off my lawn territory. Yeah. Everything annoys me now. Everything. Here we go. Russell starting his lap then. What can he do? Is he going to be in the mix for pole today? Who knows? It's been impressive so far, or it's been solid so far. Oh, no, he's not at all. Big moment in turn 1 and big correction there on the run to 2, so that's going to cost him quite a bit of time. We saw that off board from the helicopter cam. That's how big a twitch that was. So we'll wait for a replay of that one. A minute and a half to go in Q3, so we're about to find out who's on pole. At the moment, Piastri is on pole. Provisional pole, yeah, Russell's 1.5 tenths down. I think that's probably game over for George today. So at best, fourth for him. You would expect people to... I've raised an eyebrow there, I think. I don't know, but Hadjar, 1.5 down on the fastest time. So a really good first sector there from Isaac Hadjar. Norris, 1.5 up in the first sector. He's gone purple. What can Oscar Piastri do in response to that? Russell is not going to, unless he pulls out an incredible middle sector and final sector. We'll keep an eye. 109.7 in the middle. No, he's 4 tenths down. So it's a personal best, though, to be fair to him. So he's sort of in the mix for an improvement, but he's not going to be threatening pole position. And Hadjar only 3.5 tenths down on Piastri's time. So good stuff here from Isaac Hadjar. Just keep an eye on this across the line. Russell does improve slightly, but doesn't go any higher up. Hadjar, 7th place. Decent lap there from Hadjar. So good stuff from him. Hamilton, 4 tenths down in the middle sector. Here comes Norris. He goes provisional pole position by 0.5 tenth of a second. Piastri is not improving. He's 3 tenths down in the first sector to Norris and not a personal best. And we've got a load of... Is that debris at the final corner? What's that all over the track? Is it just that? It's just sponsorship or whatever. So someone's hit the wall through there and bought some stuff up, or just the forces involved, I suppose. What's Verstappen going to do? Verstappen's 800ths down here on Lando Norris, so he's in the mix. He's going to need quite an incredible final chicane. Here he goes. Piastri purple in the middle sector, but still down overall. Verstappen over the line goes provisional pole position. I shouldn't have celebrated that. Neutral my arse. He goes fastest with an incredible final sector. Verstappen on provisional pole. What's Piastri going to do? Over the line he goes. Piastri stays third. Max Verstappen. Where the frick did that come from? Has taken pole position in Japan for the 4th year in a row, don't forget. 4 poles and 4 wins would be quite incredible. He's done 3 and 3 so far. Max Verstappen, pole position from somewhere. The crowd can't believe it. Chat can't believe it. Apart from Pro Boys, as I called it. Steph liked my neutral my arse thing. I have my favourites. I don't hide that anymore, but there's no point. But yeah. I don't know if that's a celebration because it's Max or if it's somebody other than McLaren for the first time this season. Maybe. But yeah, Max Verstappen, pole position from somewhere. I don't know where that was. Yeah. Damn, how did that happen? Quite. I have no idea how that happened. Other than, I guess, Max Verstappen. I think... He's told over the radio that's insane. It is insane because he came through that middle sector, 800ths down. And I said, didn't I? You know, he needs a really great final sector. It was a big ask with what is 130R in the chicane, and he nailed it. So there we go. And a new track record as well, a 126.983. So fastest ever lap around Suzuka in any session. So there you go. Ali says you keep in mind that's a tractor. It's not a great car, is it, either? So... it's a car very much more suited to Max Verstappen's driving style than his teammates, but it's not the dominant force it was a few years ago, is it, by a long way? So there you go. Truthfully, who actually expected that in chat? Truthfully. Because I didn't. Max Verstappen didn't. Gianpiero Lambiase didn't. Christian Horner didn't sound like he did. I don't think McLaren probably expected it either. There you go. That has set us up nicely for tomorrow. Verstappen on pole from Norris and Piastri, and then Leclerc, your top 4. Russell 5th. Antonelli, by the way, we missed that one through all that drama. 6th place and right behind his teammates. So well done to Kimi Antonelli there. Hadjar with a good lap as well in 7th. We saw that one, didn't we? Hamilton only 8th. 6/10 off the time, fastest time. 3/10 off his teammate. Albon only 5,000 off 8th place, actually, in 9th. And Ollie Bearman in 10th. So good stuff for Ollie Bearman as well there. So, what are the chances of a wet race tomorrow, says Jerome? If it rains tomorrow and Verstappen's on pole, you'd be mad to bet against it, wouldn't you? But yeah, nobody seemed to expect that one. I think Fudd did call it, to be fair, earlier in the stream. So, but most people saying not me. Jacob says not me, and I'm a Red Bull fan. So there you go. Sad Baroness fan says not me, but damn, Max is a menace. You just can't get rid of him, can you? You just can't. Sammy says I ride Max, but I totally expect Piastri or Norris to take pole. I thought Norris all day long, and then Piastri came in with that lap, and I thought, hang on a minute, is it going to be Piastri? And then around comes Verstappen. So there you go. That set us up nicely for tomorrow, hasn't it? Interesting. Well, that's whet the appetite nicely, hasn't it? For tomorrow. I don't think I punched the desk too hard, but if I did and I gave anyone a jump scare, I apologise. I just want to see great racing, you know. Domination's fun, but come on, let's have as many teams and drives up there as we can. Leclerc, I mean, what, 4/100ths of a second between the top three, and then a gap of 3/10 back to Leclerc, pretty much is pretty huge, or 2.5 tenths, let's say. That's pretty big. So this could be a three horse race tomorrow. Jerome says, nice sesh. Thanks for the commentary. No problem, Jerome. If you are disappearing, by the way, we'll be live for another 15-20 minutes or so. But if you are disappearing, thank you so much for joining. Please do pop a like on the video before you go, and subscribe if you're new. We're live tomorrow. I'm live tomorrow, 5:30 a.m. BST for the race watch along. But we'll stay live a little bit longer, have a bit of a chat, catch up again, and then we'll get ready for tomorrow. And I'll go and chill, get some breakfast, some crunchy nut cornflakes. Hell yeah, I know how to live. How on earth did Max do this? Let's be real. Anyone who says he's not one of the greatest drivers ever is just a sour turd, says MSC Biles. A sour turd. Oh, that's a great expression. I've never heard that one before. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm stealing that. And I'm going to give you no credit for it either. There you go. I'm going to steal that from you. That's a great one. I saw somebody else make a similar comment around Max's drive there. Yeah, it'd be interesting what Helmut Marko's reactions are, definitely. This season's been pretty interesting so far, says Prairie Boy. Yeah, even though McLaren are clearly the team to beat, it's not like... I mean, I thought the race in China was a bit flat at times. We had the strategy intrigue, didn't we? Which made it interesting. And then we had the brake issue for Norris at the end, which spiced things up a bit late on. But we also had that crazy race in Australia. So it has been interesting. And I don't... It's not... Even though McLaren are the fastest, it's not the same as when we talked about earlier, Michael Schumacher in 2004 fastest, you know, that kind of thing. Or even Max Verstappen in 23. It's not that kind of fastest. It's fast enough that they're the favourites, but it's slow enough that others are still in the mix, like we've just seen with Verstappen and Hamilton winning the sprint in China, and you know, Verstappen actually not far off Norris coming the end of the race in Australia. Rooksfoot says genuine crunchy nut cornflakes. Remember when you were on Aldi little own brand cornflakes? Yeah. It is genuine crunchy nut cornflakes because they're the only one that tastes any good. I think the own brand ones are pretty awful. Yeah. Mad says thank you so much, Sean. Look forward to tomorrow. No problem, Mad. Thank you for popping along. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Get a good race. That's what we want as well. Harsh says he is the greatest driver ever. Obviously they're referring to Stoffel Van Dorn. I suspect it's probably Max Verstappen if we're being honest, but there you go. McLaren the fastest but not bulletproof. That's the difference. That's a good way of putting it, actually, Fud. I like that. Red Bull Max is just a perfect team, says Prairie Boy. Absolutely living the dream, Roxford. I think I made the joke years ago. I talked about if the channel ever took off and one day I could afford an Audi. I used to work at Aldi, let's say, the supermarket. So I said my autobiography could be like Oldie to Aldi or something like that, but it wasn't that funny. It was just one of those stupid things. Came like a lightning, won like a McQueen. I like that. It's spiced up the race for tomorrow. It really, really has. So let's run through the order quickly, and then we'll see what we can pick out as we do this one. So Max Verstappen is on pole position for the Japanese Grand Prix. Nobody saw that coming. And there you go. He's still there by a hundredth of a second, 12 thousandths over Lando Norris in second place and Oscar Piastri in third. 400ths of a second covering the top three. Charles Leclerc in fourth, 3/10 off, with George Russell just a fraction behind, a couple of hundredths behind in fifth. Antonelli and I think a really good sixth place, which we missed when it was all that chaos in the end there with Verstappen taking pole. Seventh for Hadjar, good lap from him as well. Hamilton down in eighth, not so great for him, and 3/10 off his teammate. Hopefully a better Sunday for his point of view. Ninth for Albon. I think that's pretty decent in a Williams there, given his teammate was 12th in the end and probably going to get a penalty as well. Ollie Bearman, very happy over the radio to make Q3 and ended up 10th place. 8/10 separating the top 10. Bearman not really threatening anyone ahead of him at that point. Pierre Gasly in 11th. Carlos Sainz 12th. As I say, probably going to get a penalty for impeding Hamilton. That looks pretty slam dunk. We'll see what happens on that one, but that could be usually 3 places for impeding, isn't it? So probably going to drop him down 3 places there. Alonso 13th and Lawson in 14th. Probably coming into this weekend, maybe not a surprise, but given where he was after FP1 and FP3, and actually in Q1 as well, bit of a surprise. Tsunoda 15th. He was sort of 2/3, or probably 3/10 really, off Max Verstappen for much of the weekend. It felt it was close to the 15th is what I'm saying, and he's down in 15th, so a bit of a surprise there, but was out qualified by Liam Lawson. Nico Hulkenberg 16th, Gabriel Bortoleto in 17th. They were knocked out in Q1, as was Esteban Ocon, Jack Doohan and Lance Stroll. Wow. Yeah, wasn't expecting that at all from Max Verstappen. So, standout performers. You've got to say Max Verstappen to take pole position in that car against the McLarens there. I'm going to say Antonelli as well. Hadjar 2, they get shout out. So does Bearman. Some good stuff there from them. And I'll tell you what we're doing, chat then. Who was your qualifier of the day? That's pointless. That's pointless. Most you can say Max. There's no point. Who was the biggest disappointment of the day for you? I tell you what, actually, Pro Boy, I was about to say something on this. Last weekend for Red Bull and Honda in Japan, or last time in Japan for Red Bull and Honda, wouldn't it be a really nice way to end what has been such a successful partnership with a win at Suzuka? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be good to see. Just from a purely, romantic, lovely story point of view, I think that'd be great. Yeah. Sorry, Sky are advertising football. They're advertising Championship football. I was going to say, we've definitely got Premier League this weekend. We better do. Oh, God. We've got City on Sunday. I forgot about that. Probably win that one. Anyway, this season is going to be entirely Max versus McLaren, says Ali. Hopefully, but I hope we can get, and not just from a bias point of view, but hopefully we can get the Ferraris in there, and hopefully Mercedes as well will be good. But yeah. Big Buzz says Lando Norris was, I assume, is the most disappointed pick there. Pro Boy says Hadjar best qualifier. Michael's disappointed with Ocon. Joey says Doohan. Who else? Was hoping big things from Sainz says two-wheel drive. Prairie Boy says Tsunoda most disappointing. Lala B says Hadjar best of the not Max qualifying. Not good enough from Lewis, says Griff. Norris knows Max is the man, says SD. Was really hoping Soda could beat the second seat curse, says Quicksilver Ghost. They should try putting Yuki's balls in distress tomorrow. Seem to work for Hadjar, says Matt. That was such a stupid laugh. Sorry, yeah, no, that's yeah, there you go. Put a squeeze on, makes him go quicker. There you go. Great qualifier from Bearman, says Pascal. Absolutely. Absolutely good stuff from him. And we have Braintree in the Bananarama League. Dizzying Heist, says Steph. Bananarama League, that's great. I am not that disappointed on Tsunoda because this is the first time, says Barley. I think that's something as well, actually. That's a good point. You know, Yuki Tsunoda, much more experienced than Liam Lawson in Formula One. But it is still his first weekend in that car. Limited preparation time as well. Wasn't confirmed until the Thursday after China. He would have known before that, of course, but wasn't confirmed until the Thursday after China. It was only really had a week to get to grips with the car. We also had a pointless FP2 session with all the fires, and we had a disrupted FP3, so we have to take that into account. But he was much closer to Max in FP1 and FP3 and in Q1 than he was in the end in qualifying. So it is a little bit disappointing because I was hoping he would be the one to nail it this weekend. But at the same time, as Barley said, that it is first weekend for him. So I know, again, for the millionth time, not everyone is going to give people that kind of grace because of their desperation for clicks. But I think, you know, you've got to give a driver a few weekends before we start writing them off. But again, it's Red Bull, so they'll probably sack him tonight and put Hadjar in the car tomorrow. Who knows? It gets less and less each time. So eventually, it's just gonna be like you get an hour in the car, and if you're not quick enough, then you're gonna get dropped. So there you go. Each subsequent actually, Prairie Boy said the same. Each subsequent Red Bull driver gets less time. Hadjar will get FP1 and FP2. Yeah, that's it then. So yeah, there's that. There was a bit of a scruffy lap from Yuki as well. The red flag, maybe. I'm not making excuses, just trying to find reasons, but maybe that's throwing him a bit. You know, starting a lap, not getting to finish it, go again. You know, I don't know, but first weekend, the race is tomorrow, points tomorrow. See what he does. But interesting that he lines up behind Liam Lawson on the grid, but they're still side by side. That's going to be tasty tomorrow. Although I'm sure there's no, I don't imagine there's any bad blood between the two drivers. I'm pretty sure Liam Lawson isn't sat stewing and thinking that Yuki Tsunoda has somehow done him over here. It was a decision by the team, not Yuki. So there's no bad blood there, I'm sure. But he'll want to prove a point when he will, Lawson. Michael says again, proof it's not the car only. Max is the best, says Michael. Never really followed Hadjar, but he's impressed, says Prairie Boy. And I'm going to go and find out where that comment is that you've said is true. I'm intrigued. I don't want to agree to have seen it. Can't see it. There we go. That's maybe a conversation from earlier. But yeah, any questions before we end the stream for today and get ready for tomorrow? Off we go again. And then we'll do some quick predictions after that. But we'll, let me know any questions. I'm just going to listen to the, described as insane by GP over the radio there to the Verstappen, who's probably as surprised as anybody else that he did that one. That was all in that final sector, wasn't it? 17-2 for him. 17-2-4-1. Wasn't even the best, actually. 17-2-4-1. Piastri did the best one at 17-2-05. So one of those consistent laps from Verstappen. Matt says, chance of Sainz hitting points tomorrow. We've probably got our 3 places to that, haven't we? So 15th on the grid. It's not an easy track to pass on. Tricky race. I think he's going to need some luck or a really smart strategy call. But it'll be tough for him. But maybe. If he does it, it's going to be 10th. I don't see him being much higher than that. Hopefully Albon will get the points for Williams there, though, for sure. Both V-carbs ahead of Tsunoda, says Manuel. You know who you are. Sorry, I was sort of pronouncing your name and then went to look at the timing tower and went, that's not true. It is absolutely true, isn't it? Hadjar's in a Racing Bull. 7th for him and 14th for Lawson. Yeah. Interesting. First weekend, though, in that car. Max looking very happy there. Is it going to rain 100%, says Bartley? Should we check the rain for tomorrow? We always like to check the weather, don't we, when we're on here. I'll tell you what, actually, I'll go to the FIA weather because they tend to be a bit more on the nose. They were the other weekend. So, I'll say that. It's not actually updated for the weekend. So there we go. Where's the Sunday one? Trying to work out where this is. That Sunday then? Yes, it is. There we go. Sunday. So 80% chance of rain at 9 a.m. race starts at 2 o'clock local time. So 9 a.m. for rain, 80%. That drops to 60 at 10. It's about a 40% chance of rain for lights out. But it's 60% from 1 o'clock an hour before lights out. So I think we're going to end up with a slippery track tomorrow. It's not guaranteed rain, but it's going to be in the air, which is so. I hope it's not in the air to the point where we're just going to get Sky commentary, Sky watching all day during the race. I hope it's not one of those races. But yeah, rain is around for tomorrow, so it's going to be a factor. Which even if the race starts dry and stays dry, it's still be a factor because it's going to rain overnight according to the forecast. So that washes the rubber away, makes the track a bit more greasy, a bit more green, and that's going to spice things up a bit tomorrow as well. So there you go. Most impressive rookies so far, says Pascal. Bortoleto, Bearman, Hadjar, and Antonelli. Is it in that order, Pascal? Because I might call you biased. Putting Bortoleto first. I've been impressed with Hadjar. Bearman, not so much with his crashes, but actually he's turned that around quite nicely. And Antonelli, I think, is doing a good job given the pressure of replacing or filling the shoes of Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes is huge. In a high-pressure environment as well. I think he's done a good job, so. I was trying to listen to Christian Horner there, but I don't want to go silent for 10 minutes while I listen to him, so. He's saying Yuki went hot into turn 1, and that compromised the rest of the lap. Unfortunate. Thinks he's done very well overall the weekend. Settling in well. What else is he going to say? I mean, yeah. What can he say? In fact, we're going straight to Yuki Tsunoda now with Sky. See what he says. The best teammate for Max is Ricciardo, says Hey Swift. Wasn't able to put it all together in the end is what Yuki's saying there. Sorry, I wanted to just listen to what he's saying if there was a reason, but that he just said couldn't put it all together in the end. So there we go. Bearman has been great this weekend, but I wouldn't say he has been an impressive rookie so far, says Ree the Kiwi. And Pascal says, no, that's just they came in my head. There we go. I was going to say Bortoleto first. Maybe some bias there. I'll let you go. I'll let you go on that one. You can have a break. It's fine. I think it is lights out and away we go trademarks. I don't think so. Don't give them ideas though. Definitely don't give them ideas. Oh dear. Any more questions? So let's do. I'll tell you what. Forget questions. Let's do predictions. So what's your top 3 for tomorrow? Get them in the chat. I'll read a few out. I said Norris, Piastri, Verstappen on Thursday. I'll revise that slightly. Do a dare go and risk it for a Verstappen win. I'll go Norris, Verstappen, Piastri. I don't know. I just think that McLaren in race trim. Unless if it rains, Verstappen wins. End of. If it stays dry, McLaren have got 2 cars in the fight, strategy-wise. I'll go Norris, Verstappen, Piastri. Wet, Verstappen, dry, Norris. Is what I'm going to go with. That was a long way around, wasn't it? But I got there in the end, and that's all that matters. Pascal says a bit of rain would be nice. Would be good. Ali says Norris, Piastri, then Max, unfortunately. That was my prediction on Thursday. So, Rocket P-Bird says Verstappen, Leclerc, and Hamilton. Manuel says, but Danny will return to the Cadillac car, so that might be out of the cards. I think it looks like Cadillac are leaning more towards Perez, so we'll see what happens with Cadillac. We'll get into that in the summer, I'm sure, when silly season's properly underway. Max, Piastri, Norris, says Michael. Saxum says Norris, Max, and Oscar as a top 3. Matt's gone Piastri, Verstappen, and Norris. Piastri third to first would be impressive, wouldn't it? Lawson in the point, he says Ree the Kiwi. That'd be good to see. A nice way to kind of bounce back from a tricky start, wouldn't it? It'd be good for him and something to celebrate after being demoted. Lala B says Piastri, Max, and Norris. Steph says Norris, Piastri, and Russell. Pascal's gone Verstappen, Piastri, Leclerc, and then Hulkenberg P10 if it rains. That's a big shout from 16th. I like that. Paula says Max, Lawson, Hulkenberg. I like that even more. Pascal's just fainted at the idea. Read the Kiwi also says Piastri, Norris, and Russell. Twin Vlog says Norris, Piastri, and Russell. Paul says Max will run Lando off track first lap. Oscar windows of opportunity, I'd say. There you go. Those two will go toe-to-toe to turn one, I'm sure. Barley says rain equals Verstappen. Absolutely. Ali, I said unfortunately because it just shows Piastri, Norris, Max. Because it should be Piastri, Norris, Max. Okay, I'm with you. That's fine. Don't worry, Ali. It's fine. And Hulkenberg first podium would be great. It would be absolutely fantastic. And Prairie Boy says Max, Oscar, and Charles. Or Anne Charles. Not Anne Charles. I don't know who Anne Charles is. She might be awesome, but yeah. And Charles. We'll leave that one there. Piastri, Norris, and Max for Anonymous. There we go. We'll leave it there then for today. Thank you so much once again for tuning in. 800 of you still here. 250 likes. Can we get that to 300? Is Sean being too ambitious? Prove me wrong. I don't think we can. Reverse psychology, yeah. Let's try and get that to 300. 48 to go. That'd be quite impressive. But yeah, that is it for today. Like I say, I'll be back tomorrow at 5:30 a.m. BST for a 6 a.m. lights out for the race. See what Max Verstappen, Lando Norris and co can do at the front. Obviously, we all know that Leclerc is going to win from fourth. We'll see how we go. But yeah, you never know and all that. Yeah, nothing else to say. Thank you, as always, to Multiviewer, by the way, for providing the live time for the stream. Forgot to do that earlier, so I appreciate the continued support there from those guys. I know it's not an ad. There's no agreement. I use their live timing. I give them a little shout out in the stream. Links in the description if you want to go and check that out. Well worth it if you enjoy all your F1 data. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until tomorrow, goodbye.